So,
no pun intended.
Yep.
no pun. And you know, I approach the subject as a white male with a lot of privilege, and I recognize that. And I was tickled because it's just like the story of the tortoise and the hare. I actually started first, got all the stuff done, and just visiting and meeting new people. I didn't get back to the platform on time. And I skipped the first day of class.
Still got an 8.
He had plenty of time, didn't he? He took his own sweet time that we gave him. So let me ask you this, Marshall. When I said congratulations, come on down here next to me, you get a 30-second, which actually really was longer than 30-second, head start, and you can pick whatever station you want to start at and in which area of the room to start. What went on for you in your head?
Well, I used my knowledge of higher ed to my advantage. And you know, I went to enrollment services and then counseling, and then finance. I went in the order that makes sense to me as a higher ed professional in advising. So that's what I did.
Okay, so he used his advantage. He used his experience and his advantage.
Can I ask a question about
Sure.
that? So is the 30 seconds statistically relevant to the time frame as far as, like, was it just kind of an arbitrary, like, I know as a white male that I'm ahead like that, but is there even a statistical relevance to an amount of time?
No.
Okay.
No.
Just curious.
Surely created by me. Started with 30 seconds, gave him extra. But I didn't hear words like inept. No. Words like, I wanted it to be done already. I wanted off this stage, out of this activity. Why would he? Is there a reason? So let me ask you this, Marshall. You took every advantage that was afforded you. You took advantage of that, and then you went and refreshed yourself, and then you even chose to defy and not come to the first day of class, and yet you still made it on stage with plenty of time left. What if I had instead said to you, Marshall, I need you to stay where you're at, and the rest of you step forward next to me? What would you have thought then?
If I'd have thought you were, based on what I know now, and not years ago, 10 years ago, for instance, I would have thought that you were trying to level the playing field a little bit.
Okay. He would have thought I was trying to level the playing field. What did it feel like if I had given them a head start and you did not get one? You were the only one standing on the stage while everyone else erupted into activity, finishing out their stations before you. What if I gave them a
Is this a trick question?
I'm sorry? Did it feel good, Marshall? Would it have felt good?
No.
No.
I mean, it would have been maybe on its face unfair to do it that way.
It would have felt unfair. It would have felt unfair. But the inverse was not the case. Okay. 6 other people were not given the same advantage. What did it feel like for you, 6?
It sucked.
It sucked.
Unfair.
Unfair.
Unfair in a way, but I was having fun because I wanted to catch up with the person and show that I could do just as well as that able-bodied person.
She wanted
So,
to prove
this was a
herself.
competition.
It was a competition. And speaking of competition, remember, I created this. Right? I set up this dynamic between everybody. They were competing against each other for a coveted slot. What if I had created it differently? Because I know that there were a couple of you immediately asked, can we collaborate? Can we help each other? Can we do this with each other? And my classroom rules, or excuse me, my activity rules dictated no. You may not. And what did that mean for the 6? They were on their own. Would it have felt good if the 6 of you had gotten ahead? Yeah?
Of course.
Of course. Of course. At any moment, Marshall, did you think, you know what, I won't take that head start?
I did.
True. He jumped right to his behavior, didn't he? He said, I didn't. He might have thought, you know, this might be unfair. I feel kind of bad about this, maybe. But the outcome was what? The action was that he took it. There's a tension there, isn't there? Isn't there? What is it? Okay, conformity to norms and expectations.
I have to say that for me, being part of 2 minority groups, that I wasn't surprised that Marshall got a head start, and nothing against you, but, you know, well, I'll put in quotations because that's your character, Marshall, that you took advantage of it and didn't feel bad about it, just because I'm kind of used to that, like being part of 2 minority groups, so.
You've gotten used to it. It would have been actually weird or different had it been the other way around. Had I written the rules differently, right? If I had said, Marshall, sit down, we're going to give everybody else a head start. There would have been maybe some new emotions and thoughts and behaviors around that action if the design was different. Okay, I'm going to ask the station monitors real quick because you did such a fabulous job ensuring that the activities got done. And I should have taken a second to read out each of the stations, so I apologize in advance for that. But if you had a chance to take a peek, that's great. So really, I just came up with questions to sort of associate with the station or the experience or department that a student might navigate themselves through, but also the experience that they have, like first day in class, first day of test, is really to make somebody as uncomfortable as I could possibly make them and see what would happen. Somebody brought up the point about the social security number. Where is that? Right over here. Who was it that brought that up? You brought that up. It felt really uncomfortable. Do we know students who might feel extremely uncomfortable in that? Yes. Extremely uncomfortable in that. So uncomfortable, as a matter of fact, that the very idea of even coming through that front door of the institution and then being asked this very private question, unintentional, may leave them feeling like, I don't know if I can come back through these doors again. What about testing? The test. Produces a lot of anxiety in students. And what does it really actually mean if someone whose strength area is states and capitals and we've designed it so she fails, does it really mean that she doesn't know? Does it really mean that she's not prepared to go to the next level?
No.
No.
The mode of assessment didn't work for her abilities.
The mode of assessment didn't work. The manner in which I designed and delivered it didn't work. How was it for you, monitors at your stations?
So not everyone was able to see my tests. So for the first day of school, it was starting from 100, count backwards to 0 by 3s. I'm not a math instructor. I don't play one on TV either. So it was tough for me. So I knew that the individuals who came here, they would also freak out a bit when they saw the task they would have to do. And if you think about it, 100 isn't divisible by 3. And it's something I didn't think about until halfway through the first contestant. And both of us had that moment, oh, we're not on track to hit that 0 perfectly. So we course corrected together and changed it up. So we made those accommodations. And I didn't mention that to the other contestants. I wanted us to work through that, to have that experience, but I also felt a little bit of cognitive dissonance because I knew that would happen somewhere down the line.
You knew the manner in which that station was designed would do exactly what this one did, right? It would disadvantage the student inherently. Did the student do the task? Was it as a result of the student's ability? No. My design, my power, my call. Okay, oh, we've got someone in the back. We've got, what is your biggest fear? And I believe that's the counseling and advising department.
Hi. So I'm counseling and advising, and our question was, what is your biggest fear? And I found it interesting that the students who had the most, what seemed to be the most severe disability, their fears were more concrete and immediate, like, I'm afraid I'm going to fall down and hurt myself, versus students who didn't have a severe challenge were more generic, not generic, but more general, like fear of failure or something like that. And while all those fears are very legitimate and very real and need to be addressed, it's kind of reminds me of that Maslow's hierarchy where, you know, if you have something that's, you need to meet your most immediate needs first. And I am an advisor, so I know, and a lot of us as faculty advise as well. And so I just found that interesting to think of the level of fear or where someone's fears are going to be, depending on what their needs are, could be very different. And it came across in the exercise as well.
Anybody else at the other stations?
Yeah.
Got one back here?
I'll just jump in.
Oh, go take this.
So I had the first test in class, and mine was the state capitals, which you couldn't replicate. And so what I had to think about was, am I going to change the rules? Am I going to change the structure to be able to help students? Because they weren't supposed to collaborate. The test said, here's how it is to be successful, be flexible. That's actually going to be helpful at this moment. And tomorrow, okay, well, what's the source of this policy? I can see this policy isn't helping my students. Well, does it come from the state board? Does it come from a committee? Does it come from the college? What agency do I have? What privilege do I have in being able to change this structure and change this policy in a way that's actually going to be helpful for all of our students, not just the Marshalls and the Matts of the world.
That's great, thank you. One more back there. Go long, he says.
So over here in enrollment services, it was very eye-opening for me, for the student who was sight impaired, that they put a lot of trust in what I told them, what I needed them to write down, and the instructions. And that was very eye-opening for me that, that they put so much trust in me. And also, too, it made me think, you know, I was asking students to write down their social security number, and I thought, oh my goodness, what if somebody asked why? And I didn't have a good answer. So it was a very learning experience for me too.
Great, thank you. I appreciate the comments from all the station monitors, and thank you for being there and really being able to sort of stick with the activity as it was designed. I know some of it was a hardship, but I really appreciate how you said you examined and reflected rather than to change how this could have been different in sort of a classroom setting. Because you have the power to change these rules in the classroom. You have the power to design it such that it's not competitive, such that there aren't inherent disadvantages for people. And to reflect on that, and to talk to each other, and to examine that, step back and punt, rather than making it punitive to the student through no fault of their own. That's privilege. That's powerful. I apologize because we've run out of time. I had another activity to share with all of you, so I apologize, but I think that this was rich. For all of you that I heard, it was eye-opening, right? This ability to watch and to see and to notice difference and to notice disadvantage and to notice when someone does something about it and when someone doesn't. And to notice the impact of that on our volunteers and on our students. What are we willing to do to change the rules in the classroom, the way a student navigates from one point to the next into our departments on campus? What do we need to do to change? So I say that, I'm sorry?
On my Twitter.
She just put that photo in her Twitter. You know, I heard a lot of great feedback and responses today. I watched as eyes opened. I watched as your lenses became more clear. My hope, my enduring hope, is that you don't unsee. That you do not unsee what you saw today and how that might be replicated in your classrooms and on your campus here. Does anyone know what it means to unsee something? It's kind of like that whole piece about unlearning something. You know, my brother, a real quick example, my mother was never great about locking the bathroom door, let alone closing it when she used it. And there was a moment in time when my brother said, passed by the bathroom, here's my mom doing her thing. And he says, oh my God, I can never unsee that. Never in a million years am I going to be able to unsee that. I want that same way of burning this lens into your everyday. So that when you come here, you remember, and you look for difference. You embrace it. You invite people who are different with different perspectives to the table. Because if we invite students onto our campus and say, come here, we're really diverse, check out our website. Right? Look at our marketing brochures. We're really diverse. We invite them to the party, and then we never ask them to dance.
Can I add to that?
I'm going to leave my thing on.
And the other thing, we invite them to the party, we don't ask them to dance, and we can't be surprised when they're mad. Because that's my takeaway from this. I'm frustrated and I'm mad because I can't participate.
She was pissed off. She got beef with me. When I'm done, I'm out the door. She's not going to be able to find me. Outrage. Outrage. Some of us know it. Sometimes it simmers under the surface. Other times it erupts without our intent. But outrage, don't be afraid of it. I need you to be. Your students need you to be. I'm going to play this video. Oh, yes. Mike's going to connect me to the internet really quickly.
Thank you, Nora.
Hey, that was fun.
He hope he says hi.
A lot of people see justice as the most futile. A lot of people see justice as the most futile thing you can do with it. Give your life completely to business and you see the money pile up. A lot of people see justice as the most futile thing you can do with your life. Give your life completely to business and you see the money piling up. Be a health nut, eat right, go to the gym, and your muscles will grow and your body will look good and you'll see results. But when it comes to justice, it seems like you just can't get ahead. You patch up one hole and something else rips open. You bring peace to one region and war breaks out in another. You rebuild after an earthquake and a tsunami hits. And you work and you work and you work and there's never any profit. There's no bank where you can store a surplus amount of justice in. Stability is never permanent. Something always tips and people always ask, is it even worth it? And that question, though understandable, quite frankly, it's ridiculous. And it rarely comes from those who are actually tired from pursuing justice and not just tired of the idea. It rarely comes from people who've labored for years and have good reason to ask it. And you know why they never ask? Those type of people become friends with those who suffer. Family even. Because it's one thing to wonder if someone else's freedom is worth fighting for. But when you begin to identify with that someone else, commune with them, that's when the question is no longer worth asking. That's when it becomes offensive even. What do you mean, is it worth my time? That doesn't even deserve an answer. I don't care how long it is. I don't care how many times you fail. I don't care how little progress is made. You never stop fighting for your own.
I really want to thank you for having me here today. Like I said, I was thrilled to even be standing up, let alone enjoy some time with TCC. So I thank you for having me. Remember everything you learned. Don't unsee like my brother is unable to unsee. Remember that we used to tout that education was the great equalizer. And somewhere along the way, we all became perpetrators of privilege. It's time to undo that for our students. It's time to get angry, to reflect, to think, to undo, to unlearn, so that our students have a chance to to leave here with the future and the trajectory and change in their lives that they deserve. So I thank you again very much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you all this year.
We will take just a 10-minute break, and then Phil will be up here on stage for us. So please take a little break, come back in 10 minutes, and maybe even sit a little closer.
And then we're going to sprint them out of here, and then the next session, the best practice people will be, well, if best practice go over, they go over into lunch. So that's not Good question. Do you know how we can get into the center room to get prepped for our 11:20 session? Vern and I just want to log in. Sometimes it takes a little while. We have a little control to set up. Do you know who might have? I was call security, but.
This next session will be presented by Phil Hunter, and he will be giving us a degree overview, where our learning outcomes include classifying and comparing TCC's degrees and explaining why degrees are important to students. At the end of the session, you'll have an opportunity to fill out a feedback form, and we'll collect those, so we'll stop just a little bit early for you to do that. And with no further ado, because he needs you all the time, Phil Hunter.
Draw a layout. So those of you who are up here taking pictures, just point your camera at the QR code and it'll take you to a website that's got a PDF of all of the slides plus the presentation if you want to look at it later. So I have 30 minutes and I have 27 degrees to talk about, plus 2 more that we're developing. So clearly it's going to be a really high-level conversation. So out of our current 27 degrees, they fit into these 6 categories with one exception, the option B degree. I will not be talking about that degree. So I want to start with the Associate in Applied Science degree. So these are our professional technical degrees, and they are really geared towards preparing students for immediate employment. They are terminal, which means they are non-transferable. Now, throughout my presentation, I have these little asterisks. Degrees are a lot like English spelling and grammar and chemistry rules. There are exceptions. I am not going to have time to talk about all the exceptions. So just be aware there are some exceptions. But these degrees are terminal degrees. They're really not transferable. So if a student gets an Associate of Applied Science degree and then wants to transfer to one of our partner baccalaureate institutions, very few of the 90 credits or more will actually transfer. So they almost have to start over. That's one of the big downsides of this degree, but don't despair. Let's work on that. These are the, 11 different associated applied science degrees that we have. Many of them I hope you recognize. They are heavily into the health professions, but there are others as well, like early childhood ed and business and some of those. Some of these are competitive admission. So students must first take a bunch of prerequisite courses and then apply. There's no guarantee that they'll be admitted. This can be kind of problematic for our students. For example, if a student is only taking courses to meet the prerequisites for a competitive admission program, they are not financial aid eligible. Some of our students in the past have gotten around that by saying, oh, I'm a transfer student, when they're really not, but that's not the best. And I will talk to you about some work that we've done to address this very issue. Also, because of course there's no guarantee of admission, since it's competitive admission, what if they aren't admitted? Then what? And so one of my advising practices that I would like you to really take on and consider is to be talking to students about backup plans. There are all kinds of reasons students need backup plans. Sometimes their plans don't work. Sometimes unexpected things happen, and what their plans were, they just got to step away from that. And I think it's really important for us to talk to our students about what will they do when the unexpected happens. And we need to do that while they're here, not after the unexpected happens. So the second group is a closely related group, the Associated and Applied Science Transfer. So these are very similar and sometimes nearly identical, the Associated Applied Science degrees. They serve the same purposes, but these degrees are required to have a minimum of 20 general education credits attached to them. Now, these are not really transfer degrees in the usual sense, in that if a student completes this degree and then transfers to, again, one of our baccalaureate partners during a Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science degrees, probably only about those 20 gen ed credits will transfer. But keep in mind the degree that I'm going to talk about in a moment, the Bachelor of Applied Science degrees. So these degrees really are geared towards preparation towards Bachelor of Applied Science, as well as immediate employment. We currently have 2 of these degrees. Nursing is now in this category, and the second is a new degree, the Allied Health degree. So this degree was just approved this year. It is designed for those students who are working towards preparing for a selective admission Allied Health program or towards a Bachelor of Applied Science degree. Part of this degree is they will earn a Allied Health certificate. This is important. So one of the things, a phrase I'm going to start using a lot in the next few minutes is some college, no degree. Some college, no degree is an important class of students, and unfortunately a great many of our students leave as some college, no degree. Having a certificate, as we will see, can be a very important backup plan, as well as potentially a Bachelor of Applied Science. The other thing is because they're working towards a degree, they are now financial aid eligible. So if you're working with students or talking to students, whether you're their advisor or just their faculty member, please keep this degree in mind. It can be a really great degree for some of our students. The next group I want to talk about is the transfer degrees. So here at TCC, our transfer degrees are built on one of two statewide agreements. There's the Direct Transfer Agreement, DTA, and the Associate of Science Agreement, AS. Those built on the DTA we call Associate in Arts. Those built on the Science Agreement, Associate in Science. Starting with the Direct Transfer Agreement. So the benefits to students of earning a Direct Transfer Agreement degree are multiple, but 3 of the biggest are here on the screen. The first is it fulfills the general university requirements at the transfer institution. All of the public and private four-year baccalaureate institutions in the state of Washington are signatories to this agreement, with the exception of our dear neighbors, UPS. So for all those other institutions, if they arrive with this degree, their general university requirements are fulfilled. This agreement allows the degree and allows students to use up to 15 credits of general college level courses. These are courses that most baccalaureate institutions do not even offer, and if a student were to take that course and then try to transfer it as a course, it would not transfer. Those credits would just vanish. These are most of our Prof Tech courses, our computer user courses, but if they actually earn the degree, they can use 15 credits of those, and basically they transfer. So this is a big benefit for some of our students. The other big thing is this transfers as a degree. So the receiving institution does not look course by course, transfer the course, decide how does that apply towards the degree. They just take the degree. So we've said they've met the general university requirements, and that's a done deal. Outside of the degree, we have some courses that we call a social science course, but if a student then transfers it to one of our partner institutions, it suddenly becomes a humanities course or a natural science course. And we have several courses that do that kind of thing. But within the degree, if the student has the degree, that's not an issue. Students need to know this, though, because it's not guaranteed the receiving institution will treat it that way. So they need to know that they have these rights. The Associative Science Agreement, the Associative Science degrees do not have as many social science and humanities in them, and so all the general university requirements are not met by this. So it does have benefits, but they're set back a little bit. Students can only transfer or apply 5 credits of those general college level courses. But again, it does transfer as a degree. And so the student just needs to complete what they would have completed to complete a DTA degree after they've transferred. But again, these things are only good if they actually earn the degree. Under both of these agreements, there are statewide agreements called Major Related Programs, or MRPs. The purpose of these is to provide specific guidance leading to junior standing in a major, not just junior standing at the institution. And the goal is to decrease the time needed to accomplish that. We actually have a second mechanism of doing this here at the college. We call those transfer specializations. And I really think of the major related programs as specializations with the backing of a statewide agreement. But technically, they are different degrees. They are unique degrees. The institutions that sign on to these major related programs agree that it really does prepare students for that major at their institution. And a few of them allow students to transfer more than 90 credits. Currently, there is work going on at the college to implement the Associate in Nursing MRP. And when we have that, students will be able to take 135 credits here at TCC towards a nursing degree, transfer to one of the signatory institutions, take 45 credits at the baccalaureate institution, and graduate with a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. So I think this will be a fantastic degree for our students. These are the major related programs. Some are built on the DTA agreement, some on the Associative Science. And again, the nursing one is in development. Okay, then the last category, this is the new, I almost forgot this one. I almost always forget this one. The Associate in General Studies. How many of you know we have this degree? That's what I thought. Yeah, so this is there. Oh, by the way, let's say you want the gory details on any of these. What is the definitive source for what are the requirements for a degree? Where do you go to find it? I may know a lot of them, but I'm not the definitive source. The college catalog. The college catalog. If you are ever unsure about what a degree requirement is, pull up the college catalog and look. Whatever we say in there, we commit to. And so if a student comes in and they keep a copy of that catalog or look in the archives and we made a mistake in that, well, we have to honor that and they can enforce that. So the college catalog. The Associate in General Studies degree is just a general degree. It gives a lot of flexibility. It is not a transfer degree, so if a student earns this degree and then transfers, each course will transfer course by course. However, it is a degree, and in my mind, it would be much better for a student to have this degree than to leave in that some college no degree category. So I encourage you, look this one up. It is in the transfer section of our catalog. Look it up, become familiar with it. I call it the degree of 10s, 10 credits in multiple areas. Then finally, the Bachelor of Applied Science degree. Excuse me. So this is a degree that builds on the Associate of Applied Science degree, our Prof Tech degree. So the idea here is this: student earns their Associate of Applied Science degree, which includes at least 90 credits. Then they can earn an additional 90 credits and earn the bachelor's degree. They do not have to start from nearly scratch, which is what would happen if they transfer to one of our baccalaureate partners. It's also designed, as we are implementing them here at TCC, these are designed for career advancement. If these students, they earn their associate's degree, they get in the workforce, and then later realize for career advancement, they need a bachelor's degree. There are a lot of jobs that require a bachelor's degree or more, and this gives them that path. And recognizing that, we're building these degrees with the idea of working professionals taking these degrees. They also allow a student, if they need a master's degree, to move on to a master's degree without having to go back up and take extra courses. I will freely admit, my thinking about these Bachelor of Applied Sciences degrees has changed recently. I used to be ambivalent at best about these degrees. Partly this is because I live near Bellevue College and I watched how they developed them. We're doing something different than Bellevue College. But my thinking on this really changed a month ago when I was reading the proposal for a new degree in applied management. And this is what I read in the middle of this lengthy proposal. It said, in 2017, 50% of graduates from the Professional Technical Business Program at TCC were students of color, compared to 10% of graduates college-wide. A BAS in Applied Management will give those Prof Tech business graduates a pathway to seamlessly advance to a bachelor's degree program and all the economic potential it holds. And this was written by Mary Jane Oberhofer, and I thank her profusely because she gave me a whole new lens through which to understand these degrees. This degree, these degrees, I now understand as being really important equity work that we're doing here at the college. And I support this in a way I can never support it before because of this new lens I see. So I encourage you, if you have not thought about these degrees much, be thinking about these degrees. I think, and I need to spend more time on this, but I actually do agree with what Haas said. There are some of our students who are transfer students who may be better served to actually take a path that leads to this eventually. We currently have 2 degrees, Bachelor of Applied Science, Health Information Management, and Community Health, and we are now working on the Applied Management degree. So those are our degrees. And I need to check my time. At 10 minutes, okay. So, why is it important for students to actually earn the degree? In other words, why is it important that when they leave, on their transcript it says that they earned a degree? They filed the paperwork and earned the degree. Okay. So I want to give you a few minutes to actually think about that. See if you can come up with reasons. And you can tell from my thing roughly how many reasons I've come up with. And if you're cheating and looking at the website, you can see them all. Okay, so I was going to actually have you talk, but I'm running low on time. So here we go. How many of you thought equity was a reason? Raise your hand. Okay, so equity is a reason, and let me show you just a piece of the evidence for that. So this is from a state board study where they were looking at students who are transfer students who have earned 75 or more credits. And they looked at the difference between students who left the community and technical college system without a degree, some college, no degree students, and students who left with a degree, an associate's degree. And they looked at socioeconomic status and the rate at which they transfer. Students who are in that category of some college, no degree, socioeconomic status is a strong indicator of whether they will transfer or not. The higher their socioeconomic status, the higher the rates at which they transfer. It's a significant change. On the other hand, if they've actually earned the degree, almost all of that goes away. Not only that, they have a much higher transfer rate. But there's an equity piece there too. In the report, there are other indicators of equity in this exact same way. Earning a degree means that the rate at which they will move on to the next level is much more equitable. Okay? So I view this as a big equity issue. Let's see. Economic reasons. Who thought of economic reasons? Ha mentioned economic reasons. So let's look at the economic reasons. So these data are from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, so they are national. Here is that some college, no degree. Keep an eye on that and compare that to the others. So this is median annual earnings in 2016. Some college, no degree is pretty much indistinguishable from having a high school diploma. Keep in mind, a lot of these some college, no degree students, they started at baccalaureate institutions. If you got a post-secondary certificate, on average, nationwide, your earnings go up a little bit, but the big jump is an associate's degree, right there. This is a thing we offer, but our students are not getting. Okay? And then the bachelor's degree. And so again, there is this equity thing of the Bachelor of Applied Science. We are providing a path for students to easily move from the associate's to bachelor's degree, and this has big economic implications for them. Unemployment rates. Again, here's the some college, no degree. At least there is some advantage in this case. They have lower unemployment rates than those with just a high school diploma, but having an associate's degree is better, and a bachelor's degree is even better than that. Looking into the future, so these are projections into 2026. And this is looking at the rate of growth of employment opportunities with various educational levels. So again, here is the some college, no degree. To me, it's striking. This is the category that will have the lowest job growth over the next 10 years projected. What I interpret that to mean is that these students will be competing with these students for these jobs. That is not where we want our students to be. On the other hand, a post-secondary certificate falls right in with associate's degree and bachelor's degree in terms of job growth into the future. So having that certificate as a backup plan really will have benefits, especially going into the future. We keep hearing about this shift of jobs into requiring some kind of post-baccalaureate certification. And we are in a position to give that to our students and allow them to be in this growth area rather than in the area of much slower growth and diminished opportunities. Let's see. Now I gotta look at my notes since I can't see on my screen what the items were. And now I can't find it. Oh, transfer rates. Anyone think of transfer rates? I hope. So let's look at that. So some of you have seen this because I sent out a video. State Board looked at transfer rates of students who are transfer ready, 75 or more credits is what they categorized it. First looking at those without a degree, only 50% actually transfer. So again, these are now students, these other 50%, some college, no degree. Data from Washington State University indicates that these students who do transfer complete at only a rate of about 50%, okay? Which means now all of these students are some college, no degree, and the small majority, or the small group here actually have a bachelor's degree. They looked at then, what if they earned a DTA degree, which is our transfer degree? In that case, 75% go on to transfer, and data from Washington State University indicates that 75% of those go on and earn a baccalaureate degree. Quite interestingly, students who earn a major focus degree, like the Associate Business degree or the Associate Science degree, 90% of those students go on and transfer, and 90% of those students go on to earn a baccalaureate degree. So this raises a really interesting question about what's going on here. And when the authors from the state board talked to the students, what they learned was it's about what I call educational horizon. So we've all had this experience of students coming to us and asking the question, what should I take next quarter? And I don't know what you do, but what I do is I try to raise their educational horizon. I talk to them about their plan for graduating, and not just next quarter. And then the next time I talk to them about what are they going to do after they graduated. So if I were advising an associate applied science student, I'd be talking about, okay, after you've been in your career for a while, you may want to move into management. How will you do that? How will you get that credential? And the Bachelor of Applied Science will allow for that. For my transfer students, I'm talking to them about careers. I'm talking to them about what exact major and where they want to go. I talk a lot to my students about master's degrees, even if they have never thought of that. And I do that because I had that experience myself. Chelan High School, one day in the office, the principal said to me, so Phil, are you thinking about getting an advanced degree, a master's or a PhD? I was like, I never thought of that. It totally changed my educational horizon. So this is the second practice I really encourage you to do. Talk to your students about raise their educational horizon. You can go to the website and look at what the other items are on there. So here are my 3 advising practices I'd like to leave with you. The first is talk to your students about the importance of a degree. A lot of our students do not understand why it's important for them to earn this degree. And once you do, they begin to understand this. Raise their educational horizon and broaden it too. Because I find a lot of students, they think they know what they want to do, but they don't know that sitting right next to what they're focused on is an even better opportunity for them that really fits their needs and their interests. And so I always try to talk to the students about related things that are somehow connected. And sometimes it really is to the benefit of students. And then have a backup plan and talk to your students about it as a backup plan. Now, one of the things that one of the struggles I have with my students is a lot of my students, they're ready to transfer before they've earned the degree. They really are. They need to go. They've been accepted into their program and they need to go. Okay? But that doesn't mean I'm going to tell them, well, forget the backup plan, because the backup plan still is the associate's degree. And so I tell them, once you've transferred, that you're going to take this course that's missing, transfer it back to TCC. You can do that. And then get your associate's degree and do it right away so that when the unexpected happens and you need to step out of your bachelor's program, which I hope won't happen, but if it happens, the associate's degree is on your resume. And so when you're going out looking for a job, it's already there and you're not waiting months for that to show up. One of the items I did not mention is celebrate success. It says that's what we do. Mary Chen Johnson is right here. Right, earning a degree, part of that is we also then celebrate that success. And I encourage you, please do this. So here's the QR code if you want to see the rest of it. If you have questions or comments, I would love to hear them. Analea's giving me the minus time sign, cut it off. Thank you.
Can we give Phil a round of applause? We are voting. If you want to take a few notes on it and fill it out and give it back to us at the end of the day, that's awesome as well. Thank you, Phil, again. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.